Again, I'm Shanita Nolan, and it's my pleasure and my purpose to be before you today. So I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you what I learned when I was growing up. I learned that this journey of life, there would be no promise of a pain-free nor a problem-free life. I was also told that when trouble came, I was not to run, but I was to stand up and I was supposed to face my fears. I was also taught that instead of saying, "Why me? Why is this happening to me?" that I should say, "Why not me?" And in spite of all of the adverse childhood experiences, the neglect, the abuse, the abandonment, and all of the pain and the sorrows that I faced in life and even overcame, nothing, when I say nothing, nothing prepared me for that day when I gave birth to my twins, Samuel and Solomon, prematurely, and they both developed cranial hemorrhaging on their brains, and they lived for 3 days. As parents, you automatically believe that one day your children will bury you, but you never imagine having to bury your own children. And let me tell you, despite my understanding that my journey in life would include sorrow and pain, and even having experienced that for myself, that was hard to accept. And then after that, I had 4 miscarriages. And so I became a shell of the woman that stands here before you today. I was hiding in plain sight, pretending to be okay when I was dying inside. Well-meaning people came up to me and said to me, "God makes no mistakes." They told me, "At least you have 2 other children," as if they could replace the children that I lost. They meant well, but they didn't know that they caused me even greater pain. Being a follower of Christ that I am, I over-spiritualized my pain, and I never gave myself the opportunity to grieve and to mourn. And what did I do? I became bogged down with guilt, shame, fear, anger, insecurity. And in doing so, I denied myself freedom. I denied myself healing. I denied myself that just being grateful and being whole so that I can be able to take that pain and be able to heal from it and be able to pour into the lives of others. And so what did I do? I buried myself in work. I poured out into my community. I poured out in my church. I poured out in my family while I was just dying on the inside. Every night, I prayed that God would take my life because the pain was such, but he never did because he had a promise for me and he had a purpose for that pain. And one day, I was in church service, and as usual, my body was there, but I was somewhere else. But we had a guest speaker, and he recounted the story of his own daughter who was grieving the loss of her child who was born stillborn. And as he comforted her, he said to her, "Baby, I am here with you, and you are not in this alone." And he told her, "Your promise is greater than any pain that you're experiencing right now." And something about what he said made me sit up in my seat, and it resonated deep down in my soul. And I felt differently. And my church had been having this 9-week Bible study for women who had experienced pregnancy losses, and my husband had been trying to encourage me to go, and I wouldn't go. But after that, I actually signed up for that 9-week Bible study, and let me tell you, I was made healed, I was made whole, and I became the version of myself that I had once knew. And then I became a facilitator of that same Bible study. And see, I'm here standing before you because I am a perfect example of how our Heavenly Father can take someone who is broken down, who is hurt and distraught and hiding in plain sight, and turn that pain around for his glory and for their good. And I took every bit of that pain and sorrow that I had and that healing that I experienced, and I poured into the lives of others. I advocate so that infants and every mother can have a healthy chance. I advocate so that women can be whole and so that they can feel free to share their stories without shame. And so that is my story, and I hope that something about it resonated in your hearts and that you will share your story and allow others to experience healing as I did. Thank you.